morning from Vietnam, Dave. Good afternoon to you, and thanks a lot for spending your afternoon on the Friday, and joining our program to share your amazing journey, your book, your stories of wisdom to our audiences around the world. And we want to say thank you to you.
Well, thank you for inviting me, huh?
And since you
I'm
haven't
happy
been
to be here.
we are happy to having you. And since you haven't been to our country, we would love to have the opportunity to meet you in person. If you travel here or if we travel to San Francisco, we would love to have a cup of tea, cup of coffee with you and give you a physical hug in person. Okay?
Well, thank you.
Hey,
That's a very nice invitation.
thank you. Your books have been translated to Vietnamese. Two of them. One is coming, right? And I'm excited for the audience here. We have a lot of people here talking about your books and the principle that help them to improving their life. So thank you so much for writing all of the beautiful ones.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Dave, for a little taste of our culture also, it will be extremely honor for us if we can have you to share to our audience a little bit of about who you are and the work you do for them. So would you please do that?
Sure. I live here in San Francisco for half a year, and then other half I'm in Santa Barbara, where I have my son and my 3 grandchildren. And I have been working for 55 years as a psychotherapist, but now I'm retired. And I also have been teaching all that time. I still teach a class on poetry. And I follow a Buddhist path, although I'm also Catholic. And so I do practices from both Buddhism and Christianity. And I would say that my writing is not just a job. It's not a job at all, actually. It feels like a calling. Feels like I have a certain skill and I'm here to use it and help others with what I have found out. So I noticed that I was very concerned and pained by how much retaliation is in the world and in relationships personally. And that led me to write the book called Sweeter Than Revenge. And what's sweeter than revenge is what in Buddhism is called metta, loving kindness. And in Christianity is called agape, which is a selfless love. It's the opposite of making your decisions on the basis of ego. So it was an honor for me to be able to write about this topic. And I hope the book will help people. Also, I noticed that working with couples, I was surprised to see that couples say that they love each other, you know, the partners, and yet they still engage in payback, retaliation. And so there's a chapter in the book on that topic. It's a rare person who never retaliated even once in his whole life. Most people say they have retaliated sometimes. So this book is to help you see alternatives to that. Instead of having to hit back you can love back, or at least, as the Dalai Lama says, you can at least do no harm. Those are the alternatives to retaliation.
Okay.
I mean, summarizing them.
Dave, we jump into the book a little bit too early, okay? And our audience, we want to know first about your calling, job writing, and because the books, all of the books, including the new one, is the end result of that calling. You know, for after 55 years of in the psychotherapy, in teaching, and yet along the way, your father Colin wrote so many beautiful books to help people to improve and change in certain area, in certain topic of relationships, right? And before we jump to the newest one that you just released in November, let's travel time with me a little bit for our audience to know some more background of you. Is that okay with you? Let's
Yes.
time travel. Okay. I lead the way as an example, and then I'll ask you questions. Okay.
Sure.
When I was little, I grew up in a city called Da Nang City. You were a person who anti-war back then, so you know our country and probably know about Da Nang City is in the middle of the country, where all the bombs, you know, basically hit in that area. So it's devastated, and it's a poor city. I grew up in a very poor family also back then, and one night we had electricity. I can see things. I could see things, right? The next night we did not have electricity at all. So I grew up with the this, you know, and with the goal that I want to become an astronaut. You know, like, so that I can fly to the moon. I can
To
see
get
like,
away.
yeah. So yeah, and but life taking me to a very different path, right? So for you, uh, you know, what was your first dream about, you know, the future works that you do?
Uh, in all my childhood, I thought I would like to be a Catholic priest. And so I noticed that at the end of high school, I still had that desire. So I went to the seminary and I was ordained a priest in 1966. And as you know, at that time, the war in Vietnam was raging, and I felt a calling to uh, take a stand against the war. I considered it immoral and wrong on our part. And so I started a draft counseling center. So young men who were drafted into the service could consider becoming conscientious objectors. And I tried to show that you could be a Catholic and a conscientious objector to war. You did not just have to be a Quaker. Then, of course, at Sunday Mass, I pretty much every Sunday I mentioned that part of being a full-on Christian was to take a stand against all war. And this led me to become strongly associated with the Quaker group in our town. And I also engaged in various demonstrations, you know, nonviolent demonstrations. And I could see that I would always want to support the nonviolent way of dealing with conflicts, both personally and internationally. And after a few years as a priest, I decided that I did not want to continue with it. Also, I could see that the church was never going to take a strong stand against the war. And I didn't feel comfortable remaining where I was. So I left the priesthood and became a psychologist. And I continued my, then when we kept widening the war and even attacked Cambodia, I kept protesting in a nonviolent way. And I'm very glad that the Holy Spirit helped me see all that and participate as I did. Then in 1971, I found Buddhism, and that philosophy of life also includes nonviolence. And so I began a lifelong study of the Dharma, which of course I'm still engaged in. And now my thanks is also to the Buddha who helped me see the light. And I guess that's how I would describe my calling. And all the books recommend the practice of metta, loving kindness, and the Christian style of unconditional love in a selfless way. I could also see that this can't really happen to anyone unless you let go of that ego that has to be first, has to be on top, has to win that part of us, has to be tamed. And obviously the nonviolent style is the taming of the shrew. And I could also see that retaliation is the ego's favorite sport. And so we just do it automatically without even realizing it. And the other end of it would be, of course, a failure to forgive. Forgiveness being the highly spiritual alternative to hitting back when someone has offended you. Anyway, I'm glad I found all this out and have a way of sharing it.
Beautiful. Hey, why did you choose the major in psychology, but not like in teaching or anything else? If you want to change the world in a better place back then, you could become a doctor, a teacher, a different profession. But why psychology?
Well, if I were going to answer honestly, I would say I had so many my own psychological issues. I thought, oh, if I become a therapist, maybe I'll solve my own problems. Of course, it doesn't really work that way. No, my interest was psychology. It was not medical or lawyering or any of the other professions. That was my interest and still is.
Yeah.
And of course, it's psychology from the Jungian point of view more than the Freudian point of view. So we look at the archetypal meanings. It has more of a spiritual orientation than just plain psychology.
One last question about the childhood, okay, the upbringing before we move into the writing and the books, okay? So if our audience want to know how the young Dave in his teenage looked like, what is that?
how the young,
Like, you know what? I'm just imagine. I want to imagine, how you were when you were little. When you say that, like you study psychology because you want to, solve your own problem. So how was you look like back then?
how would I look like what?
Like in living, in having friendship, in the perspective about life.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
perspective about life.
Yes. How was you? What were you back then look like?
Well, I'm Italian, and so I have the Italian way of looking at things, I guess. And I come from a city, so we weren't very oriented toward nature. And like yourself, we were not rich. We were, you know, not totally poor, but we were close to being poor. And it was a working class world. So none of my relatives had ever even finished high school. So I felt like, I was called to something different. And that's how I went on to college, which was in the seminary. Did I answer your question? Because I didn't quite understand.
Yes, we wanna hear that. Yes.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Thank you. So you're the first person in the family that actually got into the university, and
Yeah. Yes.
the purpose driven behind that was for you to understand more about yourself, to fix your problem and help other people at the same time.
Yeah.
Alrighty, alrighty. And for the calling of writing, okay, that is where your work has been going internationally because of that calling. Tell us, how did you get to that? The reason we ask is because there's a lot of people every day maybe experiencing the callings for their life, to do something for themselves, right? And maybe they missed that calling, maybe they didn't hear that, maybe they didn't see it. So if they can hear from your real experience, maybe it's helping them to be able to capture that when it comes.
I think it's a combination of the way to contact your calling. It's a combination of what you notice you're mostly focusing on, and your heart is responding with a caring wish to change something. And with it, you have the skills to put it into some kind of format that people can get. So I always had the skill of writing, and when I felt this calling toward nonviolence and how to combine the spiritual and the psychological, I brought my writing skills, however good they are or not, to the writing of the books. And I also noticed that I had an ease in teaching, that I don't get embarrassed when I'm in front of people. And that became another way that I could live out my calling. You see, once you realize that the teachings, like the teachings of Buddha, the Dharma,
Uh-huh.
or the teachings of Christianity, which are the gospel, once you realize that the teachings are the teacher, that you are simply the mouthpiece, the way the teachings come through. I don't see anything as coming from me. I feel like it's coming through me, from Buddha, from Christ, from the earth. And I take whatever talents I have in writing or teaching,
Uh-huh.
and that's how it all comes together.
Wow.
So I
So
feel
you
great gratitude that I have this
So you are a portal for all of that to come in, and you
Yeah,
just transmit that onto the world.
yeah, you don't always get the calling with the uh, with the skills. So a simple example,
Mm.
Moses had a calling to release the Jews from slavery in Egypt,
Yes.
but he did not have the skill to present it in words that could be understood and that could make a difference. So his brother Aaron, who did have the skills but not the calling, he was the mouthpiece. So Moses has the calling, Aaron has the skills. Put the two together. I'm lucky because I have both together. But you could have just the skill or just the calling, or you could have both.
Wow.
And you just have to make the best of it. Also, Buddha, when he was enlightened, he didn't really have the sense of a calling. He thought, oh, now I'm enlightened, and so is everything on the earth. We're all awake now. But it took a while for him to realize, now I have to tell other people, I have to put sutras together so that the teachings will come out. I have to go around and teach what I have found out. And he did have the ability to do that.
Mm.
But that's what's so mysterious about a calling, because you don't always get the skills. And sometimes you could even say no to the calling,
Mm.
as in the case of um, of the story in the Bible about uh, God asks, trying to think of his name, uh, but God asks this particular prophet to go and preach to the Gentiles. He says no. Then he's swallowed by a big fish. Uh, I'll think of his name. So sometimes you say no, but you wind up getting some kind of message that you still have to do it.
Because it's there for you.
Pardon?
Because it's there for you. So
Yeah,
it will come back, right?
yeah.
Yeah. And
It's Jonah and the whale.
John, oh, so the
Jonah,
Jonah.
Jonah. He had the calling, and he said, "No, I don't want to do it."
Yeah.
So that also can happen.
Yeah. I think that there's a lot of people, like we mentioned earlier, that say no to the calling like Jonah. And I think later on in life, life has the magical, God has his way for that calling to come back and come back and come back, right? And as long as we hone our skills and get ourselves ready, when it comes the next time, maybe we have both the calling and the skill to make sure that happen. And for the writing and for the teaching, was that was there anybody in the family that had that gene, that DNA, like that carried transferred to you, or something that
Any other
completely?
family members?
Yes.
No,
No.
not that I ever saw.
Okay. Alrighty. Dave, let's jump into the newest book. Okay, you say
Sure.
that you write the book because of the calling, of the pain that you're seeing in people retaliation around in relationship and in many other things around the world, and that makes you to write this book, right? So uh, what's the difference between this and other books already written in the space of conflicts, handling, or anger management?
The difference between this book
Yes.
and
And are there other books that will be written in the
I hope
Korean?
there are many more, and I hope many more are coming up, because this is such an important topic. And I noticed, reading one book on Buddhism after another, and one book after another on self-help, that it's almost never mentioned. So I thought to myself, people aren't getting it, that you have to let go of retaliation if you're really going to be living a spiritually conscious life. That people just take for granted that it's okay to retaliate. I found one Chinese sutra, which I have in the book. It says this: one act of retaliation burns down a whole forest of merit.
The
In other
whole
words, you can
forest.
do all your practices, and both Buddhist or Christian, but when you're still retaliating, you cancel the merit that would come to you. So that was the best quotation that I found. And reading, one sutra after another and one book after another, it's just rarely mentioned. I think it's something we just don't notice that we're doing, and we think it's okay.
Hmm. So why is it like this?
This book began on the day that I was watching the TV, which is right behind me. I was sitting right there, and I was watching the news, and I saw Netanyahu on the screen, and he said, because Hamas had just attacked, around October 7th, 2023, Hamas had just attacked. He said, I intend to retaliate like the world has never seen. When I heard that, my calling came to life.
Wow.
I got up from that chair to this chair, and I started putting my notes together. And that's where this book comes from.
Wow.
I said, oh, this is my calling. I have to say something to him and everybody about alternatives. What is the alternative? It's to feel the grief that goes with being hurt or offended. And of course, retaliation is a way of avoiding the grief. In fact, there's a line in Shakespeare that expresses it perfectly. In the play Troilus and Cressida, Troilus, the main character, says, the hope for revenge shall hide our inward woe. Woe at that time meant grief. If we get a chance to get revenge, we won't have to feel our grief. So I saw, oh, we use revenge to avoid the real feeling, which is grief. So the alternative to revenge is to feel the grief, then speak up and say, ouch, say, what you did, here's how it felt. Felt like it didn't feel very good to have you do that. I like to say, ouch, tell you about my hurt, and then open a dialogue to try to work things out. And if the person is unwilling to have a dialogue, that's when you do your metta practice. May he find the light, may he be happy, may he no longer retaliate, that kind of a prayerful affirmation.
Mm.
And then You have to open yourself to forgive and move on with love, let go with love. And the forgiving is not excusing. Forgiveness from the point of view that I'm espousing and teaching is letting go of ill will toward the other person. I hope bad things happen to him. Letting go of ill will, letting go of the need to keep resenting the other person, keep feeling angry toward the other person. And third, to let go of the need to retaliate. So when you let go of those three, that's the kind of forgiveness that I'm suggesting.
Wow.
So whether or not the other person is willing to have the dialogue, you still ultimately forgive. Meaning those three things. I don't want to have ill will. I want to have goodwill towards you. I don't want to retaliate. And I won't retaliate. And I'm not going to keep resenting you. In this way, forgiveness is a spiritual practice.
Professor Dave, relate to related to the presenting, right? So revenge is been remaining for us, quite persisting for a long time. So why is it so persistent within us?
Well, it's for two reasons. One, our earliest ancestors could only survive if they retaliated. In other words, let's say you're in one village, village A, and village B wants to attack you and steal your provisions and the food you're storing up for the winter. They're not going to do it if they know you are going to hit back. So it's a survival technique. When you don't have all the options that we have now, where you know enough to start a dialogue, speak up, protest, we have all kinds of ways now of handling things. We also have ways of protecting ourselves from people who might harm us. We also have a police force. We have all kinds of things that they didn't have in caveman times. So that's one reason. And the second and biggest reason is to make sure we don't have to feel grief. Because you're going to feel good at first when you get back at someone. You think, oh, now I've evened it out. Now the scales are even. But really, it comes back to haunt you. In fact, the title of the book is very much connected to what I'm saying. So you've heard the expression, revenge is sweet. You ever heard that?
Yes. Yeah.
Did they say it in Vietnamese also?
Yes.
What is it? How do you put it in Vietnamese?
Sự ngọt ngào của trả thù. Like revenge is sweet, right? It's ngọt ngào của trả thù.
Or what is it?
You want me to explain it in Vietnamese? Using Vietnamese word to explain, to share, right? Trả thù là ngọt ngào.
And what does that mean?
It means that it's feel good when you revenge. Right? It's feel yeah.
Good. Same idea in English.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the origin of it. Have you ever heard of John Milton?
No.
He's the most famous English poet after Shakespeare.
Wow, there's a lot more for me to learn then.
Yeah. And he wrote a very long poem called Paradise Lost, which is about our, the story in the Bible about Adam and Eve. That's what the poem is about. In this poem, he has these words: revenge. Well, you'll see this in the book. It's in the introduction. Revenge, at first though sweet, bitter ere long, back on itself recoils. I'll put it into modern English. Revenge feels good at first, but then it turns bitter pretty quickly and comes back to hit you.
Mm.
So the words are revenge at first, though sweet. That was changed into revenge is sweet. See, they missed the whole point. That's not what the poet said. He said, at first it's sweet, but we say revenge is sweet. You see the difference?
Only
So that's why the name of the book is
sweeter.
Sweeter Than Revenge.
Yes. To
What is sweeter than revenge? Metta practice. That's the loving kindness practice, which is about forgiveness and compassion, joy at another's good, rather than feeling good that somebody was hurt back. So Buddhism has, the opposite practice. We want to have people find the light no matter what they did to us. And of course, Christianity has the exact same teaching, Gospel of Luke. Do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, and pray for those who mistreat you. That's in the Bible.
Yeah.
So that's the same teaching as in Buddhism. And both of them are giving you the opposite of retaliation. Also, it's in the Lord's Prayer. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. As we forgive is the opposite of as we get back at. People say this every day, but they don't realize what they're actually committing themselves to, which is to let go of retaliation. I made a vow to Buddha in 2014 that I would never again retaliate. No matter what people do to me, I feel the grief, say ouch, speak up, try to open dialogue. That is my spiritual calling. And I'm hoping that everybody on the planet would have the same calling. It's hard to believe that they will, but we can do whatever we can to help it to happen. That's my book. It's my little way of trying to make a difference.
Tell you, bring me to that 2014, where you make a vow to Buddha.
Yeah, I went into a Chinese temple with a friend.
In the US?
There was nobody else in there. It was a Buddhist temple, and there was nobody else in there. And there was a life-size statue of Buddha. And I stood in front of the statue, and I was looking at him. And all of a sudden, I heard myself say, without planning it, I vow to you that I will never again retaliate. It was a it was a big surprise because I had no intention of saying that when I walked in there. But there was something about looking at the enlightened one that brought it out of me. And I've tried to live by that ever since. But I do notice that no matter what, you do find little ways to retaliate, no matter how hard you try. So whenever that happens, I apologize. And it happens especially in driving.
In driving. And see, 2014, you started having that calling to write a book about revenge. It takes you 10 years, to build that skill up, until the situation happened from the Hamas and Israel, for you to start to write this book. So it takes years to hone the skill, to master the calling, to respond to the calling, right, Dave?
Yeah.
And
Well, all humans have the same calling,
hmm,
which is do unto others as you would like them to do unto you. That's called the golden rule.
hmm.
You have a Vietnamese version of that?
Yeah, we do have a Vietnamese version of that. It's widely shared in Vietnam also.
Okay,
And
what
then
is it? How do you translate it?
you you don't do something to other people that you don't want them to do to you.
That's it. Okay.
All
That's
right.
everybody's calling.
Yes.
All beings have that calling. Then individuals have a specific calling. So that's how I look at
Yes.
it. All beings have that same calling, which is the golden rule.
Yeah.
Then, of course, in Buddhism, we also have the calling to act with loving kindness and compassion. In Christianity and in most other religions, we have the calling to show love to others. Of course, if you're just brought up in a religion and you only participate in it because it's what your family has always done, you may never really ask yourself, well, what am I actually committed to here? It has to be more than just going to church.
Yeah. That's why I want to ask this question, because the people, we know what needs to be done, right? What needs to be doing, but we're not doing that. And that's where all of the issue, all of the conflicts, all of the
Yeah.
problems happen. So what piece of advice can you give it to our audience so that we live with those principles instead of just talk about those principles, just discuss about those principles? How can we embody that and have the lifestyle living with them?
Well, let's put it this way, and I have this in the book.
Uh,
Uh, when someone hurts your feelings or does something that offends you or that is meant to humiliate you, make you feel bad, cheat you, you have three choices. One, retaliate. That's your
okay.
most primitive choice. Or two, don't retaliate. And everybody can do that. Everybody can retaliate or not. Three, not only don't retaliate, but even wish them goodwill and act lovingly toward them. What the Bible says, do good to those who hurt you. That's the basic and special calling that religion is about. And everybody can find the grace to do that. Now, if you notice that you don't have that orientation or you haven't been doing that, you can pray that you will be given the grace to become the kind of person who can love back instead of payback. Or you could say, with the Dalai Lama, Dalai Lama said, if you can't follow the Buddhist practices, at least do no harm.
Do know.
So if you can't do love back instead of payback, you could at least do, I won't retaliate.
Wow.
That doesn't take a special calling or a special grace. Anybody can do that,
Yeah.
just as anybody can retaliate.
So first is retaliate, two is not retaliate, and the third one is that not even
Not only
retaliate,
don't retaliate,
but loving back. Right?
yeah.
Alrighty. And then if we could
Kind of
not
what,
do any, don't do
it's kind of
anything.
what, oh, what?
And
What'd
then,
you say?
if we could not do all of that, then don't do anything harms. Don't do
Yeah,
anything is also a good choice. It's also a decision, right?
yeah.
You were saying something.
Yeah, I was going to say the easiest way to realize you can do it is the way you are toward your children. You don't retaliate and you do love them no matter what. So we know we can do it. Because you might say, oh, that's impossible. But you are, every time you are not retaliating and harming your children when they do something you don't like, and you love them anyway, that's the third category that you're engaging in. So we know we can do it.
Hmm.
Or if you really love someone, you would not retaliate.
Absolutely. So, what do you want our audience to take out when reading this book?
To realize that you don't have to retaliate. You have spiritual practices, which I describe in the book, that can help you be more spiritually conscious about how you live your life, rather than just living it in the way you see in movies, where they're always retaliating. And you also notice, by the way, when you're watching a movie and it's a crime story, and you see the characters committing crimes, you know by the end of the movie, they're going to be punished, right?
Yes.
And you're glad when you see them punished. You would have to start noticing that you're glad that others are being hurt. And you say to yourself, rather than hurt, it would be good if they could help him see the light, make a change, convert from the way of crime and evil into the way of goodness, which many people have done in the course of the years. So the main point is everybody can act with heart instead of hurt.
Yeah.
No matter how others treat you. Now, when you see the picture of Jesus with his heart on the outside, that's called the Sacred Heart, and it has a wound Uh, all our hearts are like that.
Mm.
We've all been hurt in many ways, but even though we have been hurt, we can beam out the way the Sacred Heart does. We can beam out in all directions the beautiful light of love. It's hard to do, but once you get into the habit, you like yourself a lot more for being like that.
Wow.
And you can ask help for that from Buddha, Jesus, God, higher power, nature, whatever. Your country has a combination of Christianity because you were occupied by the French,
Yeah.
1848.
Yes.
You have Catholicism, you have Buddhism, and you have communism.
Yeah.
You have many different, points of view. But in any point of view, you can give up retaliation.
Yeah. We have everything, but the doing is the most important, right? Realizing what's important and the doing, the practicing, we have to get there. Otherwise, all ideas and not practicing. Uh, Dave, if you can pick a story or maybe a chapter that you would like to share with our audience from the book, is something that you can share with us in this conversation?
Yeah, the story I just shared, that was the story when I went into the temple and just something came to me to say, I vow to you that I will never again knowingly retaliate. It was a life-changing experience. And I believe that that was the beginning of my calling to say something about finding alternatives to retribution, revenge, and to find something that helps the world survive rather than has more wars happening.
Uh, my wife and I, we always love to have people to improve their ability to think. And because we are having so many noises out there in the world today, that's really hard for us to think clearly and deeply. And, and if we cannot think well, then how can we do well, right? So one of the best ways for us to help people to improve their ability to think is having conversation like this. And within the conversation, we always ask this question, and we're gonna ask you this also. Dave, how have you been growing your ability to think?
How have I been growing?
Your ability to think.
What's this? Say it again, slowly.
How have you been growing your ability to think?
How have I been growing my
Ability to think.
uh, could you say it once more slowly? How have I
Okay.
been growing?
How have you been expanding your thinking? Put it that way.
How have I been expanding my
Thinking. Thinking.
thinking?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Uh,
now I see many more alternatives than I did before. Before I only saw one alternative. Somebody hurts you, hurt them back. Now I see if somebody hurts you, don't hurt them back, love them back, forgive, find nonviolent ways of communicating, speak up instead of look for some a passive secret way of hurting someone. And when that change happened in me, it changed my thinking about everything. For instance, about international conflicts, personal conflicts, how sometimes I even retaliate against myself when I, Listen to my inner critic. I have a section in the book on this. Sometimes you even hurt yourself because something in you turns against you or doesn't like you or trust you. What we call the inner critic, the voice inside that makes you feel bad about yourself. And obviously, you feel much better about yourself when you make this change in how you will respond to what others do to you.
Wow. How's your day look like, Dave?
How
How's your day, normal day look like?
Well, my normal day is, writing and being with friends and go for a bike ride and kind of like that.
Alrighty. The last question. Okay.
Yeah.
If you travel time with me one last time to meet you when you were little, okay, and you have you and me go into a room to meet that young little Dave, maybe in the teenage time, and you having a piece of advice for that little Dave about the world, about life, about wisdom. So what is that you will share with him?
What is it to what was the last part?
What will you say
What will I say
to that little Dave?
to the little Dave?
Yes. So assuming you and I will travel time to meet that little young Dave, okay? And we're gonna have a conversation with little young Dave, and you're gonna tell him something. What is that you're gonna tell him?
You don't have to be so afraid.
Mm.
You have many resources inside that can help you, and you will meet many resources outside and around you that will help you. You don't have to stay in fear. Because I think I was very afraid most of my childhood of something, I don't know what, but I could tell I was operating out of fear. And of course, the church was telling me, you have to fear hell if you commit sin. And in my book, I show there can't be any such thing as hell. There can't be punishment after death. Punishment after death is the equivalent of, well, retaliation will definitely happen, and God will do it if you can't. So we don't want that in our religion anymore.
Mm.
We want the God who is love and does not punish you for all eternity. So that's another major change from my childhood religion. And I have a whole section in the book on this.
I look forward to reading that book. I would love to have you to sign it for us.
Yeah, well, let's hope it gets translated into Vietnamese, and then, more people can read it.
Absolutely. I'll email you, and let's see how we can make it happen here. Okay?
Okay.
Yes. So, Dave, thank you so much for spending your now it's late afternoon, early evening, right? To join our program and to share your callings, your skills to respond to the calling, a life journey, the wisdom, all the beautiful books, and the newest one that helping people uh, to understand more about retaliation, to understand more about the inner peace that they deserve to have, right? And how to live in a better way. And we love you. We look forward to seeing you in person. And we come to the US quite often, to the Bay Area. So the next trip that we go there, Definitely, we want to have some coffee.
Well, you let me know. I'd love to meet your wife also.
Okay. Babe, you have a
And we
beautiful
find that
evening.
there's some good Vietnamese restaurants here.
And we have to try to
Oh, at least
San
we
Jose.
think so. You'll be the judge.
Or maybe we'll buy from San Jose and then we bring to your area and then we can have lunch or dinner together. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So please send our love, hugs, and kisses to your three granddaughters and your family and your son and everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
Same to
very
you.
much. We love you.
I love you too.
Bye bye.
Bye.